until you wake up, which is the process of reaching consciousness, you're going to, in some way or another, behave and think very much like the other middle school students. Mm. But you're always going to feel different, and the insanity that you witness around you, political insanity, behavioral insanity, the way people treat each other, it's not going to feel right to you.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I don't get, like, why are people treating each other like this? It seems so primitive, like so brutal.
Yeah.
You won't know why you're different. You're just going to know that you're different. And as your time on this planet grows, as you spend more time, you're going to realize that you're comfortable being different, but that you are quite unique from the consciousness around you.
Yeah, I think I feel that way right now. Like I've never felt like, I've always felt socially awkward. I mean, I'm friendly, I'm nice, I could have a conversation, but like, I feel like I never could belong, you know? Like at school, there's a young group of teachers, and I don't know, I just can never connect with them. I don't know, it's weird. I don't have that many friends. Yeah. And I'm okay with it.
Yeah, well, that's just it. You're not in conflict with anybody. You're not being ostracized. You're just not connecting with them.
Yeah. I mean, I like them.
Yeah, you're cordial, you're polite, you get along. People think nice, kind things of you. You just don't have, it would be the same as if a 25 or 30-year-old is trying to connect with a 12-year-old.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes that's exactly how I feel. Like
and that's just the analogy I use because it's easier than going into the dissertation on densities of consciousness. It's just a way of framing the discussion. But metaphorically, that's the same basic concept, is that you have your human mind, which is your intellectual mind, like your IQ, and you can measure things of the IQ. And then you have qualities in your being that can't be measured. And those are like your intuition, your judgment, the way you love, the feelings that guide you, the things that you know are unique to you, and you can't put your finger on why they're different from others. Mm-hmm. And that intuition, that knowing, that call, it's actually a call to the divine or a call to your mission. That knowing is what separates you from the consciousness around you.
How do you know it's like the right thing though? You know, like I always doubt myself. Like I always, I don't know how to explain it. Like sometimes I do things and I don't know why I do things. Like even my lessons, I completely change them. But then at the end, like a couple of days, I'm like, oh my gosh, everything just, this is why you did that. But I don't even know why I chose that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it works out.
It works out. But I do things sometimes and I just don't know why, but it just works out. So is that intuition?
Of course it's intuition. It's the knowing.
Like I wish I had a more concrete way of knowing, okay, this is your intuition. Like someone telling me, you know?
So somebody is telling you, you haven't mastered the human mind yet to realize when it's the human mind, the chatterbox of the human mind versus the knowing that's moving through you from spirit.
That's what I'm trying to learn, like even how my body feels, like anything, any connection, so I can validate that, but it's so hard.
Well, that's where you are in your journey right now, is to master the human mind. The challenge that you have is to it's very hard for an Aries. You have your intellect in Pisces, that will actually help. But the journey that you have now is to find enough stillness in your human mind so that it quiets down. It's almost like, think of the rough waves on the sea. You want it to be completely smooth. You want there to be no disturbances on the surface of the water. And so
how do I do that?
Most people use meditation as the methodology to properly quiet their mind.
I'm trying slowly to do that.
Meditation when you have no obligations. There's nothing afterwards. There's nothing before. You're in a totally calm, still space, and then go ahead and drop into your meditation.
Is it okay to do that at night then?
It doesn't matter the time of day or evening. Some people find routines are helpful, so they get structured with their meditation. You just have to do it. If you're doing it at night, you can't be anxious about what time it is and you have to get to bed. If you're doing it during the day, you can't be anxious of obligations or things you have to get done. You can't allow any low vibrational energy like anxiety, obligations, of stress, and so on and so forth to interfere with your efforts to quiet the human mind.
That makes so much sense. Because I try doing it in the morning, but I'm always trying to hurry up because I'm going to be late for work or the
Yeah, and
kids.
all the things that you have to do during the day and the traffic and and that doesn't let the human mind quiet.
Okay.
And so find a meditation. You'll know you've reached a good point when you drop into a meditation and there's complete stillness and there's no thought. You can sit fully and completely patiently. It might only go on for 5 or 10 seconds, and then you'll have a thought, and you'll let the thought, like a cloud in the sky, you'll let it pass by, and then you'll go back into a state of stillness, and you'll wait as long as you can without a thought. And then when a thought arises, you're observing the thought, and then you let it go by and you quiet again. You get into that practice where you're continuously allowing your human mind to reach a point of complete and utter stillness. And if you do that for a while, when you are awake and conscious and hanging out with people, you'll be able to see when your human mind is chattering and having thoughts and ideas, and when intuition is bringing in knowing from spirit.
That is awesome. Okay. That's cool.
And
I would
so,
like to try that.
by virtue of you being a master's level student, right? So being, as the law of one would term it, you being a wanderer who has wandered back to be of service, your reason for being actually is to awaken, is to reach full consciousness.
That's my purpose. That's what I'm here to do.
That's the step where you are now.
Okay. Okay.
Because with full consciousness, your vibration, your spiritual energy, think of it like gas in the gas tank. So if you're unconscious, your gas tank is hovering around like an eighth or a quarter of a tank. If you're a middle school student, your gas tank is always around empty. If you're a wanderer, your gas tank can be between empty and like a quarter of a tank. If you reach full awakening, your gas tank can go all the way up to full.
Okay.
And your ability to go far with your mission becomes realized.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a mission. You have a reason for being here.
And that's to be fully awakened?
No, the awakening is what allows you to see what your mission is.
Oh, okay. Do you know what it is?
Even if I did know what it was, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Not
So
not at this stage, because I can't infringe on your free will and I can't bring you too far ahead for where you are.
Okay. So if I practice that meditation, that would lead me into knowing what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah, so this is where it gets more interesting. So when you have more mastery of your human mind and you properly quiet the human mind, then you can start asking, so your intuition will grow stronger. It will allow for spirit to come through. Your meditations might get very long because it'll start to bring in more spiritual energy, which will actually raise your vibration, and it's almost like the balance between human and spirit starts to go the other way and spirit starts to get more dominant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's when the fun begins. You probably already have it more than you realize, but it's just waiting to be fully activated.
So how do I do that? What do I do?
Well, so you can tackle it from a lot of different angles. The most important one is to find yourself with stillness, right? To start really quieting the human mind.
Okay.
Some people do really well in nature, completely uninterrupted in a natural setting. Some people just need to do it in their home. The next thing that you're going to want to do, depending on what calls to you, a lot of people will try to find literature or some type of examples that have been used to help people see a pathway forward. So various books that have been written, and I've got a lot of them listed on my website. You can just see the list. Some of them will just resonate. They'll just call to you. And as that starts to enliven your mind, it's actually awakening a knowing.
I do that, but then I stop reading the books. I've gone to your library. I've downloaded, I use Audible,
Yeah.
but I stop in the middle.
It's okay. So do you feel like you're present while you're listening to those books?
Yeah, I am. But, because my day is very busy, so I usually put it in the car where I can have time to listen to it.
Yeah.
But then things always get in the way, and then I forget, and then I like another book, so I get another book. I start it, I stop it.
So let's start asking. That's the third thing. For you just have to start asking. before you go to bed, you can call it a prayer, or you can just make it as a request. And you can just call to your higher self. You can call through to spirit. You can call through to Holy Spirit. Everybody has a different language that they want to use. But you're going to start to ask for the knowing to start to strengthen. You're just going to start asking every day, multiple times a day. Ask.
What's the language for that? Because
You'll use language that's most comfortable for you, but it can be something as simple as I call to the Holy Spirit, or I call to my higher self, and I ask you, come through. Please come through strongly. Enhance my intuition. Allow me to know you better.
Oh, nice.
Awaken within me. Spirit, I call to you. I call to you, requesting you awaken within me.
I've been doing that a little bit with my dreams, like before I go to bed, just like if I have a question to see if my dreams can give me some answers. Sometimes it does.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't remember, but.
So for the dream space is really good. It's almost like a muscle in the brain. There's a part of the human mind that acts as a conduit between spirit and the human self that is active when you're sleeping. And so what you need to do is have a notepad and a pencil right by the bed. And at the moment you wake up, do everything you can to write down whatever you dreamt. Right? It's almost as if you're working out the muscle. Every time you do that each day, it's going to strengthen that part of the brain, and the dreams will become more vivid and you'll have better recollection of them.
But it has to be consistent, right? Because
it helps if you're consistent. It might take a few weeks or a few months, but then you're going to start to have these really very clear prophetic dreams.